Hello friends, I hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so I'm back on the 54 Gravely. It has a carburetor problem. And if you saw in the previous video, I took the carburetor apart, made sure all the jets were cleaned and everything. It seems like it runs rich, but every time I lean the carburetor out, it just stalls. So I don't know if there's something going on in the carburetor. It's a cast iron carburetor, and I would love to figure out what's wrong with that carburetor and fix that carburetor and put it back on. I'm 95% sure it's the carburetor. I also, in the meantime, I checked to make sure the timing was still good and everything like that, all the basic stuff. And what I'm going to do today is I have this carburetor that I took off the 73 Gravely that wouldn't run with this carburetor on it, and I'll show you why it wouldn't run. And I said in that video I was going to take it apart and see what was going on, but we never did. I just put the other carburetor on it and that was it for that. But let me show you what's going on with this carburetor first. Okay, so now when the carburetor's in normal position here, the float should be down, so it should accept gas into the bowl, and it isn't. I can feel the float going up and down, but I think the needle might be stuck. So we're going to attempt to take this carburetor apart, and hopefully the gasket doesn't tear. And see what's going on with this one. So that's what I intend to do today, is try the carburetor and see if that's the problem. Otherwise, if it's not the problem, we're gonna have to dig deeper and see what's going on. So let me put this back in the vise somewhat the way I had it. We can take this hose off here now. For this carburetor, it's an aluminum carburetor, so I could just buy the bowl gasket for this one. As I said in the previous video, the cast iron carburetor, you can't just buy the bowl gasket for it. But then again, I didn't do any further investigation on it. So I'm hoping that we could get this apart here and not tear the gasket. Let me just make sure you're still in view here so you can see somewhat of what's going on. It's 4 screws that hold this together. The 54 still has its other problems. You know, it's the forward reverse clutch is just like on its last legs. I just adjusted the linkage to the reverse and forward lever to where we get away with using it, but it does need a clutch. I'll have to check around. I might have a good used clutch for it somewhere. I sprayed some WD around the edges here, but I don't think nothing got in there. But yeah, this thing's pretty stock. so the gasket looks like it's stuck to the bottom portion here. I don't think we tore the gasket. We try to wiggle this out of here. Kind of stuck. Wait a minute. The gasket did break. It did it. No, it didn't. Alright, I have to see what's going on, why that's so stuck on there. I'll be right back with you in a second or two. Okay, so the float is stuck in the bowl big time. That's why I can't get it apart. So what I did was I took the drain plug out here and I just tilted the carburetor, sprayed some WD in there. I just turned it all around and I want to see if that'll loosen up the bowl, because I don't want the float bowl to get damaged. So I'm going to just keep working on that and I'll be back to you. Okay, so the actual problem is this. The float bowl gasket, it's stuck to the one portion of the carburetor, but this gasket covers the float. So what I'm doing right now is I already got the gasket to start coming off. So I just keep spraying it with WD and working the blade in there. I want to try to get the gasket off in one piece. So that's going to take me a little time to do. So I'll be back to you as soon as that's settled. So the needle was stuck in there and I sprayed it with some WD. And I worked it up and down. I was going to take the float out, pull this pin out, but I don't think it's necessary because it seems to be working pretty good now. Which is, it's hard for you to even see, but I want to clean out all the jets and put this back together. And now, here, I'll show you again. Yeah, something was stuck, the needle was stuck in here. It seems to be working okay now. I sprayed some WD in the needle, where the needle goes in, and it works up and down. And I did the blow test. I blew through this with the float closed and nothing blew through. And then when the float was down, I was able to blow air through there. I just did it with my mouth. I didn't use no air compressor or nothing because you don't want to damage anything. So, like I said, I'm going to clean all the ports out. I was able to save the gasket pretty good. A little bit of it, slightly. Just a little, a little film of the gasket stuck on the other part, but I think it'll be alright. The gasket didn't tear or anything, and it's all together, so let me clean this up. I'll put it together. I think I'll start it up now to let you hear how bad it runs, and then I'll go on and I'll switch the carburetors. Where the high-speed jet goes in here, the assembly, I blew some brake clean in here. Now it comes out. It was clogged solid, so I got that unclogged. So between the needle and seat being stuck and the main jet being clogged, probably was our whole problem. This carburetor must have sat for a long time when it was on the 73. So you know how the gasoline is today. Every jet and passage was clogged. This little jet over here, clogged. This passage here, it's a jet, clogged. So everything's clogged. So I just blew everything out. I cleaned everything out the best I could here. I'm going to try to clean the bolt bowl out a little better. And I think that's just stained, but I'll just hit it again with some brake clean. And I'll put it back together. And like I said, I'll start this thing up so you can hear how bad it runs. And hopefully we can cure this problem with the carburetor. Otherwise I have to look further into the tractor, see what else is going on. Okay, so we're going to have good fuel flow. Right now I can blow through this. If I turned it upside down, which would mean the bowl was full and the float's up, and I can't blow through it. Okay, so I think we'll be all right with that. Yeah, I had a lot of clogs in it. Lots. Terrible. I hope that wasn't too loud for you. I had this right up to the muffler, but I want you to hear how bad it runs. So now hopefully it'll run better as soon as I get the carburetor back on. Okay, I guess we'll see what happens now. I might have to do something with the idle. I have to see how it starts and runs, if it starts and runs. I got the gas turned on. I guess we'll try it on choke. I bought a battery for the 73 C8. Yeah, I forgot to mention when I did the hood mount modification. So I have to buy another battery. Well, it starts. It almost seems like it's doing the same thing. Guys, I'm gonna have to buy another battery and I'll be back to you. I'll do it on this video. I figured it would be silly to go buy a brand new battery for this. So I took the battery out of my truck and we'll just use that for now because the other battery won't even take a charge, and I even put the battery charger on boost and it still wouldn't. It was just a dangerous thing. I mean, the battery could have exploded. So let me see if I can get this thing to start up now. It seems to me, for that little bit that it ran, that it's doing the same exact thing. So I'm going to try to start it up without the choke on. I'll turn the gas on. like it's flooded already, but it's doing the exact same thing. You know, if anything out of this deal, I got two good carburetors fixed up. I think I mentioned this on one of the test drives, which I wish I did a video on it. It seemed to be running okay, and then all of a sudden I just heard this racket going on over by the fan, and I thought maybe one of the bolts came loose in the shroud. It was hitting the fan, and I don't know, I'm thinking that ever since that happened, then the noise went away, but ever since that happened, it wasn't running right anymore. I wonder if the valve time, maybe it's the valve timing, but when I repaired the stripped out head bolt hole, and I had the head off, and I brought it up to top dead center so no debris would go down into the valves or anything like that, both valves were closed, you know. So I don't know whether to pull the valve covers off, get it to top dead center and pull the covers off and see what's going on with the valve adjustment, or I'm wondering if I should take the magneto back off and check the point setting on it. But it seems like it's running rich, and when I go to lean it out, it stalls or wants to stall. So I don't know what's going on. I might just I think it would be easier to just take the magneto off and see what's going on with the points, and then we could eliminate that problem. And I did tell you before we did the carburetor work that I checked the ignition timing and it was fine. There's two there's the intake and the exhaust cam. Okay, each have its own separate gear. Maybe on the exhaust side or the intake side it jumped time, it skipped a gear. I don't know. This just remains a mystery. So I'm going to go ahead and take the magneto off and see what's going on with the points adjustment and everything, and just check the basics again. Before I go through the trouble of checking the points, I do have another good spark plug because as I mentioned, this has that big spark plug in it, but I did have one that I know that's good. So let's just, for kicks, we'll try the spark plug. Thing's hot. Plug is pretty black. It looks more like it's fuel valve than anything. I don't know, to me it's just running too rich no matter what I do. And it can't be that both carburetors are doing the same exact thing. I highly doubt that. Let's try the spark plug and see what happens, that's all. I don't know what else, Before I go tearing the magneto off and checking the points, we'll just do this basic stuff first here. Well, can you believe it? It was a spark plug the whole time. Yeah, I'm glad I tried the plug before I went to tear the magneto off and check the points on it. Seems to be alright. Alright, we're going to take it out in the field and try it. We'll cut some grass with it. I believe this mower deck's having a problem with the gears. So that's going to be our next issue to take care of. because this is my mower deck now. I'm using the other mower deck. Like I said, I sold the machine to Rich, so I gave him my old mower deck on it. I put a good blade on that, and this has a good blade on this. So, yeah, can you believe it? It's a spark plug. So I'm gonna have to order some big spark plugs for it. I'll meet you guys out in the field. The only time I ever saw those spark plugs go bad is if it was burning a lot of oil and the spark plug would get crusted with with oil, like a crusted spark plug. This spark plug just seemed to have I don't know, it just went bad. I don't know. I don't understand that. I've never seen one of these big plugs go bad like that before. Also, I may have put too much oil in the air filter. I think because it's puffing a little oil, and I know when I had the air cleaner hose off, it wasn't doing that, so I may have put a little too much oil in there. But let's see how it cuts grass right now, and then that'll be it on this video, on the series of the 54 for now. And like I said, I got to see how the mower deck. I think it's got stripped gears in the gearbox. So, okay. Let's give it a try and see what happens this time. Let me make sure I have you focused all the way to the back of the little field here. Yeah, you should be able to see what's going on. I shut it off at the PTO engage, which you shouldn't do, but alright, so now we have the clutch issue. I have to see if I have a good clutch for it. The clutch is like on its last leg, so what else? I don't know, the mower deck seems to be working okay. I'll just keep trying it and see what happens. The grass was soaking wet. In fact, we had a tornado warning last night. And it rained, I don't know, about 2.5 inches or something like that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see all you guys on the next one. Stay safe, everybody.